Licensure Examination for teachers. Subject: Social Sciences. General Education, for both elementary and secondary. Topic: Philippine History. Question number 1. Who was the last Filipino general to surrender to the Americans, marking the end of the organized Filipino resistance during the Philippine-American War? A. Emilio Aguinaldo. B. Miguel Malvar. C. Antonio Luna. D. Gregorio del Pilar. Correct answer: B. Miguel Malvar. Why B is correct? While Emilio Aguinaldo's capture in March 1901 is often cited, General Miguel Malvar of Batangas formally took over the command of the Filipino forces and continued a vigorous guerrilla campaign. He only surrendered in April 1902, generally regarded as the closing act of the organized military resistance. Why the wrong answers are wrong? A. Emilio Aguinaldo. He was the first president, but his capture in 1901 did not stop the war. Malvar continued the fight. C. Antonio Luna. He was assassinated in 1899, long before the war concluded. D. Gregorio del Pilar. He died at the Battle of Tirid Pass in 1899 while covering Aguinaldo's retreat. Edge knowledge. This is a common historical trap. While Aguinaldo was the leader, Malvar was the last general to yield. Always remember the Malvar marker. His 1902 surrender date is crucial for marking the true end of the resistance. Question number 2. The establishment of the
Katipunan, kataas-taasan, kagalang-galangang katipunan ng mga anak ng bayan
was directly motivated by the failure of what earlier reform movement? A. The propaganda movement. B. The La Liga Filipina. C. The Ilustrado movement. D. The Committee de Reformas. Correct answer: B. The La Liga Filipina. Why B is correct? José Rizal founded the La Liga Filipina in July 1892 as a nonviolent, reformist society. When the Spanish immediately arrested and exiled Rizal, the more radical members of the Liga, including Andrés Bonifacio, realized that peaceful reform was impossible. They immediately dissolved the Liga and formed the revolutionary Katipunan the same night. Why the wrong answers are wrong? A. The propaganda movement. This was the general movement, 1880s, that included Rizal and others, focused on seeking reforms through writing. C. The Ilustrado movement, the term for the educated Filipino elite, not a specific single organization. D. The Committee de Reformas, a general term for any reform committee. Edge knowledge. History is a chain reaction. The Liga was the last attempt at peace. Its failure was the direct trigger for the formation of the Katipunan, the first act of revolution. Rizal's arrest to Liga's immediate death to Katipunan's birth. Question number 3. Which of the following bodies was the first legislative assembly in the Philippines organized during the American colonial period? A. National Assembly. B. Philippine Commission. C. Philippine Legislature. D. Philippine Assembly. Correct answer: D. Philippine Assembly. Why D is correct? The Philippine Assembly was inaugurated in 1907. It served as the lower house of the legislature, while the Philippine Commission served as the upper house, and controlled by Americans. This bicameral system formed the Philippine legislature. Why the wrong answers are wrong? A. National Assembly. The name used during the Commonwealth period and under the 1935 Constitution, unicameral. B. Philippine Commission. This body acted as the upper house and executive body first. The Assembly, D, was the first body composed of elected Filipinos. C. Philippine Legislature. This is the name for the combined body, Commission plus Assembly, not the first elected Assembly of Filipinos. Edge knowledge. The sequence is key. Philippine Commission, American-controlled, to Philippine Assembly, 1907, elected Filipinos, lower house, to Philippine Legislature, Commission plus Assembly, to Philippine Senate, House, 1916 Jones Law. The Assembly was the first taste of democracy for Filipinos. Question number 4. The term encomienda during the Spanish colonial period refers to A. A system of forced labor for 40 days a year. B. A grant of public land to Spanish veterans. C. A grant of jurisdiction over a specific territory and its inhabitants. D. The tribute or tax paid by Filipino natives to the Spanish crown. Correct answer: C. A grant of jurisdiction over a specific territory and its inhabitants. Why C is correct. The encomienda was a royal grant of jurisdiction over a specific territory and its inhabitants given to a Spanish encomendero as a reward for service. The encomendero had the right to collect tribute from the natives in exchange for protecting them and converting them to Christianity. Why the wrong answers are wrong. A. Forced labor. This refers to the polo y servicio, or polo. B. Grant of public land. This is a hacienda or repartimiento grant of land, not a grant of jurisdiction over people. D. Tribute or tax. This is the tribute, later replaced by the cedula. Edge knowledge. Encomienda comes from the Spanish verb encomendar, meaning to entrust. The Spanish crown entrusted the native inhabitants to the encomendero, primarily granting him the right to their tribute, tax, labor, a system prone to severe abuse. Question number 5. If the First Philippine Republic, Malolos Republic, was proclaimed in January 1899, and the Philippine-American War officially began in February 1899, approximately how long did the First Republic exist before its legitimacy was challenged by the war? A. 1 month. B. 6 months. C. 1 year. D. 2 years. Correct answer. A. 1 month. Y is correct. Malolos Republic proclaimed, January 23, 1899. Philippine-American War began, shooting incident, February 4, 1899. The Republic only enjoyed a very brief, uncontested life of just 12 days before the start of the war, making 1 month the most accurate choice among the options. Why the wrong answers are wrong. B, C, and D. These options are far too long. The Republic was practically at war from the start. Edge knowledge. Note the proximity of the dates. The Americans didn't recognize the Malolos Republic. The proclamation on January 23, 1899, and the first shot on February 4, 1899, show that the Republic's existence was militarily contested almost immediately by the U.S., highlighting its tragic brevity. Question number 6. Who is known as the brains of the Katipunan and authored the revolutionary document?
Kartilya ng Katipunan.
A. Andres Bonifacio. B. Apolinario Mavini. C. Emilio Jacinto. D. Pio Valenzuela. Correct answer. C. Emilio Jacinto. Why C is correct. Emilio Jacinto was the youngest member of the KKK's Supreme Council and served as Bonifacio's trusted advisor. He was the great writer and thinker who authored the Cartilla, making him the brains of the Katipunan. Why the wrong answers are wrong. A. Andres Bonifacio, the father of the Katipunan, Supremo, and author of the Decalogue, 10 Commandments of the Katipunan, but not the Cartilla. B. Apolinario Mavini, the brains of the revolution and the chief advisor to Aguinaldo, serving the First Republic, not the Katipunan. D. Pio Valenzuela, a close associate of Bonifacio who made a historic trip to Dapitan to consult Rizal. Edge knowledge. Distinguish the brains. Jacinto equals brains of the Katipunan. Mavini equals brains of the Revolution, Republic. The difference in their advisory roles is a frequent distinction made in the exam. Question number 7. The Commonwealth period in Philippine history, 1935 to 1946, was established primarily to A. Initiate the Second World War. B. Implement land reform and social justice programs. C. Prepare the country for independence from the United States. D. Restore Spanish governance after the American withdrawal. Correct answer. C. Prepare the country for independence from the United States. Why C is correct. The Commonwealth was created under the Tidings-McDuffie Act, 1934. It established a 10-year transition government with a Filipino president, Manuel L. Quezon, designed specifically to train the country for self-governance and culminate in full independence in 1946. Why the wrong answers are wrong. A. The Commonwealth was interrupted by World War II, not established to start it. B. While important, these were internal goals. The primary political reason for the Commonwealth's creation by the U.S. was the transition to independence. D. Spanish rule ended in 1898. Edge knowledge. The Commonwealth equals training wheels. It was the final self-governing stage before the U.S. fulfilled its promise of independence. If you see Commonwealth, think 10-year transition to freedom, interrupted by war. Question number 8. The first official document to proclaim the independence of the Philippines was issued by which leader? A. Andres Bonifacio. B. Emilio Aguinaldo. C. Manuel L. Quezon. D. Jose Rizal. Correct answer. B. Emilio Aguinaldo. Why B is correct? Emilio Aguinaldo proclaimed Philippine independence from Spain on June 12, 1898, in Kawit, Cavite. This document, read by Ambrosio Renzarez Bautista, was the Declaration of Philippine Independence. Why the wrong answers are wrong? A. Andres Bonifacio. He started the revolution, 1896, but was executed before independence was declared. C. Manuel L. Quezon, the first president of the Commonwealth, 1935. D. Jose Rizal, the propagandist and martyr whose death inspired the revolution, but who never led or declared independence. Edge knowledge. The June 12, 1898, Kawit Declaration is the definitive date. Associate the declaration, proclamation, with the president who issued it, Aguinaldo. Question number 9. The Spanish colonial period in the Philippines began in 1565 with Miguel López de Legazpi's arrival and ended in 1898 with the Declaration of Independence. Approximately how many years did Spanish rule last? A. About 200 years. B. About 250 years. C. About 300 years. D. About 333 years. Correct answer. D. About 333 years. Why D is correct? The exact period is 1898 minus 1565 equals 333 years. This figure, 333 years of Spanish rule, is the well-known, historically accepted approximate length. Why the wrong answers are wrong? A, B, and C. While these are long periods, they are significantly shorter than the actual duration. The 300-year figure is often mistakenly used, but the 333-year duration is more accurate and a classic historical fact taught in Philippine schools. Edge knowledge. History has its own memorable numbers. 333 years of the Cross, Spanish rule, and the 48 years of the Stars and Stripes, American rule, 1898 to 1946, are the two key durations you must remember for the colonial era. Question number 10. The Batas Militar, martial law, in the Philippines was officially declared by President Ferdinand Marcos Sr. under Proclamation No. 1081 in what year? A. 1965. B. 1972. C. 1981. D. 1986. Correct answer. B. 1972. Why B is correct? President Marcos signed Proclamation No. 1081 on September 21, 1972, effectively placing the entire Philippines under martial law. Why the wrong answers are wrong? A. 1965. The year Marcos was first elected president. C. 1981. The year Marcos formally lifted martial law, though he retained significant powers. D. 1986. The year of the EDSA People Power Revolution, which ended the Marcos regime. Edge knowledge. The declaration of martial law is a watershed moment in Philippine history. Memorize the 1081 and 72 pairing. 1081 is the proclamation number, and 1972 is the year the nation shifted to authoritarian rule. If this video gave you an edge, sharpen that like button and subscribe to stay ahead.